Hello, this is Jeff Stein from Americans in France, and I am talking with Paul Shawcraft. Paul, are you there? Are you there?
Yes, I am, Jeff. Good morning.
Good morning. And Paul is the author of Provincial Roaming, an app about Provence. And Paul's going to talk to us a little bit about the app. Let's start. This is a splash screen you see. Where is this, Paul?
This is the fantastic Pont du Gard in the south of France, not far from Nîmes. It was an aqueduct built by the Romans when they conquered the south of France. It was to bring water from Uzès, which is a nice little town to the north of Nîmes. And they needed a lot of water in Nîmes because this was a place where the Romans liked to go and important people came there. So they needed lots of water there for the bathing and all the activities they did and parks they created. And obviously for drinking purposes too. So they brought it all via this aqueduct, which had to cross the river Gardon at this point. And there's this fantastic arched structure which you can see there, and it's used today it's obviously it's a tourist attraction. Lots of people go there to sail canoes on the river, and it's a really nice place, very interesting place. The water actually was brought across on the very top, where you can just see my name by Paul Shawcross. That's where the water came across, and that channel is still there today. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to use it since the 9th century when it all silted up, but it's still the stonework is still in perfect condition. Lovely place to go.
It looks very nice. Now, just to talk a little bit, this is an app, meaning that it's on the iPhone, the iPod,
Yeah,
and the iPad, and you also are on Google, right? Any Google
that's
device.
correct. Yeah.
Google device. And you have how many entries in your app?
There's around about 200 entries. That's including hotels and restaurants and other attractions and sites like the Pont du Gard.
Okay. All right, let's look at the first photo. Where is this?
So this photo is the of the Gorge du Verdun, which is called France's Grand Canyon. It's not quite on the scale of the real Grand Canyon in the States, but it's fabulous nevertheless and very deep. It's up in the north of Provence, and it's good. A day trip from most places in Provence, to be honest. You'd have to allow a day to go and see it. You travel up and you can go right round it, right along both sides. It's about 700 meters deep, and there are several viewpoints where you can look at it and stare right down into the gorge. It's a really fabulous place and a great day out.
What's the nearest town?
The nearest town is Castellana, which is just to the east, which is also a nice place to visit. There's an entry in the app for that. Huge rock dominates the town, and the river that you can see in the bottom of the gorge there is coming through Castellane, and it gradually goes into this gorge, and the gorge gets steeper and steeper and steeper. And so Castellane would be the best place to head for, and then from then you can go either south on the south side of the gorge, or you can go along the north side, and you can do a full circuit too.
Okay. Now, where is this alligator at?
Yeah, that's a very good question. This is in the center of Nîmes, and it's actually a crocodile, Jeff.
Okay,
It's
excuse
very,
me.
very lifelike. It's in a fountain in the Place du Marché in the center of Nîmes. And the reason it's there is that Nîmes was set up by the Romans for the veterans of the Army of the Nile. And when Julius Caesar conquered Egypt, and after the Battle of the Nile, they subdued the Egyptians. And of course, this is a symbolic thing. The crocodile is in chains, and this is sort of a symbol of the chained Egyptians at the time. And it's been a symbol of Nîmes ever since. It is very lifelike, and if you're walking through the Place du Marché, you see people looking twice at it before they realize it is actually
Before it's actually
just
real.
a sculpture.
And this is an entry? Is it?
Yes, there is an entry for the crocodile and the Place du Marché in Nîmes. Yep.
Okay, very nice. And what do we have here?
Right. This is Avignon, which for many years was where the Pope lived, because in the Middle Ages, lots of troubles in Italy, political troubles. The Pope wasn't very comfortable there. And he was invited by the King of France to come and live in Avignon, and built this fantastic palace, which you can see on the right of that picture. The church next to it is Notre Dame des Doms, which was there before the Pope, but a lot of additions made by the Pope and subsequently. But the Pope lived in Avignon for about 100 years in this palace. And if you visit Avignon, this is one of the places you should go to. There's a tour around it. There's an old palace and new palace. And it's quite fascinating, to be honest. It had to be built like a castle because the Pope was a political figure in the Middle Ages and had to protect himself. Nevertheless, it was the center of Christianity for nearly 100 years.
Very nice. Can you visit the church also?
Yes, you can visit the church. It's still used as a church, and it's a very nice visit too.
Does that mean it's free then?
Yes, the church is free. You have to pay to go into the Palais des Papes. I can't remember how much that is, but you have to pay for that, yeah.
Yeah, I've been to it. It's very nice, though.
Yes, it is.
What port is this?
This is the port of Marseille, right down in the south of France. And this is known locally as the Vieux-Port, which is the old port, because this has been there, and the buildings, or at least the settlements round this port, have been there for a long, long time. In fact, it was first settled by the Greeks about 2,500 years ago, particularly the left, as you look at it, the left of the picture, there's an area called Le Panier, the bread basket, and in English, and it was settled by Greeks and was a stronghold for the Greeks in the early classical times. Eventually, of course, the Romans took it, as they took everywhere else, but it was a Greek settlement originally.
That looks very nice. And
yes, it is a nice place, and there are nice restaurants and nice cafes, nice place to visit. And going right off the top end of the port there is the famous Canebière, which is a very famous shopping street, which is also worth visiting.
All right, it's very nice. And of course, this is an entry in the app, right?
It is. Marseille Vieux-Port is an entry in the app, as is Le Panier, and there are one or two other entries for Marseille also.
Oh, that's very good. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Now, Paul, can you tell us a little bit where we can get your app?
Yes, you can get the app on the iTunes store, and this is probably the easiest way. You can get it for iPhone, iPad, or if you've an Android device, you can go to the Google Play. They have a store too, and you can get it through that.